All right, we live. What's up, y'all? What up, Terry?
What's up?
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays. It's the end of 2023.
Man, I feel like this year went by so fast.
Of course it did.
So fast. But here we
It flew
are,
by.
last show of 2023. That's hard to believe though. That's crazy.
What I love about it is our first full year.
Yeah.
Our first full year of
Yeah.
doing a podcast.
That's exciting.
I was sitting here and I was looking at it as far as just doing like a recap of just this year.
Yeah.
And we had some amazing shows this year. I'm excited about that. So we'll do a
Yeah, we
recap.
did.
Yeah, I'll
We
definitely
did.
recap them.
Yeah, I mean, and let's not forget, like you literally held it down for most of this year, like especially springtime and all of that, because my schedule just went insane. So I think that's definitely. I mean, but we already knew that you was gonna kill the game because that's what you do anyway. So,
Right.
but it's like I remember one of our first shows when we were talking about having a supportive partner, right? And I think we
Yeah.
were actually talking about you and Cisco, but
Yeah.
like,
Oh, just how supportive he is, well, that we are of one another, and just how important that is. We did talk about that.
yeah. And then how that transforms to the show because I mean, he always hopped on and
Oh,
still does.
yeah,
You
he
know
would
what
have
I'm
came
saying?
on. He would have came on today had he not been recovering from his knee
Exactly.
surgery
And then
and
y'all
was
leave
still kind of
tomorrow.
hurt. Dang, he still would have came in. Oh yeah, he's probably. I mean, he's definitely got to be one of my favorite guests to come on because
Absolutely.
when he comes on, he brings it like every time. So anyway, we just started talking, and so I just want to back up a little bit, y'all. My bad. So this is how we start this off. We start this off based off of how we were just now, where we're just on the phone and we're just having a conversation and talking. And so I am Coach Terry Bryant. This is Dani Wright. Welcome to Hits and Heels. We come on every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We started the podcast because I'm an actual football coach. Dani was coaching football at the time, and we got connected by a mutual friend because there aren't a lot of females that are coaching football. So they
Right.
just thought that it would be a good connection, and it was just a great connection. We hit it off right off the
Absolutely.
bat, and we've been thick as thieves ever since, right? And so since that time, I am I'm coaching not just middle school football, but I'm also coaching a semi-pro women's team, all women's team, the Derby City Dynamite out of Louisville, Kentucky, the only women's semi-pro team in the state of Kentucky. And they're my heart. I'm also a board member of the Lexington African American Sports Hall of Fame. So I
Mhm.
promote that quite a bit while we're on the show. And I have a son that plays for the University of Kentucky. He is number 14. He plays safety, and he's gotten significant playing time this past season as a true freshman. I coach with my husband. My husband also coaches baseball. And so we just started a sports podcast, and we just want to talk about it. And so we have had, like, this past year is our first full year. So we started September 2022 was our first episode, I think. And so 2023 was our first full year of doing our podcast. And so this year it was just amazing. I was just sitting here going, because we kicked off 2023 with the owner of DCD because we were going into signing day. Um, and so we kicked it off with her, and then we had Christina Coleman, and then we had my boy Ron Prince came on. So
Ron Prince.
and then Ron ended up doing an encore for us
Yes.
a couple of weeks after that. But it's due for Ron to come back on again, right? He's due. He's
Yes.
due.
Like
He's due back. So he needs to be one of those quarterly
You
or
gotta be regular.
semi
Yeah.
annually regular guest on the show because of the knowledge that he brings. So my one of my best friends is Ron Prince, who was NCAA D1, plus he was also an NFL coach for over 30 years. And so he just brings a wealth of knowledge. And matter of fact, I owe him just so much debt for just us helping us go through the recruiting process with Ty. And he
Right.
just kind of walked us through that process, and it helped out tremendously. But then after Ron, I had my boy, I think you and I were in there, we scattered in there. We talked about March Madness and we talked about a lot of stuff in there. I brought my boy Carrick Seals on. We talked some local football, and he talked March Madness. We had Chantel Presley on. Um, uh, we talked about her foundation, her being a real estate agent, her playing professional football overseas, all of that, which was another great show. And
Yeah.
then I had my girl, Coach April Sands Bernard on, who ran track for LSU. And we talked about LSU being probably the most storied team that has the most championships that is never talked about. And that is the LSU women's track and field team.
Track and field team.
I think that they have the most. And then we bought my girl and your girl, I said my Nicole. You talked about Nicole last week. I had Nicole on, but because of DCD is my heart, they've been on several times. So I
Yes,
think I had Nicole on.
necessarily so. I mean,
Yes,
when you
and
had
then
that one show, it was the whole team that was on.
yes, right. And did I think I had the whole team in it? Right? Was it before or after we were going to championship weekend in Canton? I
I
can't
would say it
remember.
was
And then I
before.
had them again. We had them
You
again in
had
the
them,
fall.
but it was again. It was two times, right? Because it was right
I can't
before
remember
Clinton,
because I had
and
just
then
Crystal and Nicole on. Was just only got on one time, but then another time I remember Jadea and Nicole and Crystal and I think there might have been somebody else that was on too or whatever. I hate that I'm missing out on that, but yeah, I've had, so I'm always have my DCD girls is going to be on there, so they always are going to represent whether it's Nicole or Crystal or whoever's they gonna always be on, right?
but that's
Um,
how. And I know you're gonna run through the rest of them, but I feel that that's why the show was started, right? Because we knew
Nobody knew
these
about who they
people.
are.
We knew about all these women out here. We kept hearing all these great stories. And you and I remember getting on the phone with you one day and I was in tears and I was like, this is what's going on, and I can't do this, and da 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 da, and why are they doing this, and I need some help. And then finally I was like, wait, I don't have to put up with this because I'm actually not getting paid to do any of this.
Right.
And so I can go do something else, which I did.
Right.
But I think it speaks to, I would have felt stuck and I would have felt a different way had we not connected and had we not started the show. And it's such a great platform for us to share and for you to bring on all of these women that you have relationships with because you are the only woman football coach at the middle school level in the state of Kentucky, right? So, so it's like you get to bring all of these women on that you connect with and the men that are connected to the women who are they're advocates for us, right? I just think so. I know you about to because you got a whole bunch of other awesome people, and we haven't even got to the Layshaw folks who
Right.
were
Because they're
freaking
coming up. I think they
amazing.
were coming up next after your people.
Like,
But I think I was doing when I was just writing down just a recap of who. I mean, I was almost in, like, I got tears in my eyes and I'm about to mess up my face now because of just all the great guests that agreed to come on and took
yeah,
just an hour out of their time and out of their Wednesday evening to even come on and be a guest on the show, I think was just nothing short of amazing. Because, like you said, after I think it was after Nicole. No, we got Nicole on, and then you had Jarvis, the
Yep.
Rust AD, and then you had Raven Fields,
Yep.
and then I think I brought hubby back, but then we had Dr. Coffee on, Dr. Delise
The
Coffee
least
on,
man. She
man,
got to,
right?
she's another one that she need to be on
That needs to
quarterly
be on like a
for
regular
real.
basis, just
Because
because of the knowledge that she has
yeah,
as a
definitely.
psychologist. Yes,
Absolutely.
and she's also more like she's also a performance coach, like a
Mm-hmm.
performance type, like a mental, what is like a mental, not a mental health,
It's
but more
a
like a
sports psychologist, but
sports
she
psychology
does,
part of it.
yeah,
Yes,
she does
she
like
brings
the mental aspect of
of the
being an
game.
athlete.
Yeah,
She was
right.
a she was amazing.
She was really good,
She was so
right?
good.
Right. And so then after her was when we went into DCD weekend. And then that's when I think I had all my girls on and we were getting ready to go to Canton. And then in
Yep.
between there, I had my hubby came on. I didn't realize how many times my hubby came on and held it down with me. And
A lot,
then
all the time.
it was a lot. I did not realize it
But
until
then
I
what
was
I
writing
also
it down.
love is his pop-ups, right? Like it'll be me and you, it'll be you and somebody else, and he'll pop up
And he'll still
because
pop
he
up.
hears the conversation or he's watching on his way home or something like that. And he comes in the house and he just sits down next to you and starts, giving his input and his perspective on things is so rich. And it's like, dang, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely love his mind when it comes to sports and how he thinks about stuff is amazing. And then that's when we went into I think that was like, so of course that was out after end of July and then going into August. So then we were preparing for the gala for Layshaw. So then
Yeah.
we brought in Jennifer Jones, Connie Rayford, Bobby Jones, the co-founders and the chairman of the board for Layshaw. And then I brought Cisco on again, but then that time we had the three guys. We had Coach Burbage, we had Coach Johnson, and then we had Mr. Stephen Kaufman on. And that was right when we kicked off our football season, and our kids were all playing together. And so that was a great show. Then you brought on Chad Higgins, Chatty Chad, and
Chatty Chad.
then I had
I gotta call Chad out right now because you know where he's at, right?
Where's he at?
He's in San Diego at
At the
Pezzo
Louisville
Park,
game?
the Louisville game. So I got it on TV.
Oh, so we're missing the Louisville game right now. Okay, so we're gonna have to
It's all
hurry up
good.
so we can get to the Louisville game.
It's all
Right.
good. I'm watching it. So y'all see me glancing over. You just know I got the game on.
Right.
I got my
Okay.
Louisville.
So then I think we
I got
had
my Louisville blanket ready.
gotcha. So then I think we had the gala, and then I had the board members come on, and I think
Yep.
Shonda James came on.
Shonda
And
James.
anybody else besides Shonda James came? I can't remember.
I thought
It might
that
have
was
just been Shonda.
Was it just Shonda? Oh, it was just Shonda because
I think Jennifer might have jumped on.
Shonda and yeah, because they came on together, right? They were on the same show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I know that there was supposed to be one other person, but it ended up not working out.
Right. But Jennifer always would come on and they would just
Yeah.
give just a great engagement on.
Absolutely.
And then we had Victoria Gay Jazz after the gala. Set it off after the gala. And then I think we were after that we were getting ready for tryouts for DCD, and I had Crystal and Nicole.
Crystal and Nicole on again.
And then I had Coach Naida Girton, and then I had her daughter Lobby Frazier, and then we had Christy Thomas, and then we had Monique Smith, and I think I missed somebody after. Who do we have after Monique? I think I missed somebody after Monique. And then last week we had a really, really great show, and that was Coach Pat, Patrice Bowman from
Christy.
Yeah, I said Christy Thomas.
Did you say Christy? Oh, okay.
I said Christy Thomas. Christy Thomas was before Monique.
Before Monique.
And then I can't remember if it might have been somebody after Monique, and I can't remember who it was.
There
I'd have
was.
to do it. But I'm just
No.
saying, this past year was absolutely fantastic. We had great guests. It was
Mm.
just so fun. And oh, and I think hold on, I didn't send Mr. What you call it, the link to
Oh, Mr.
to
Brown.
Mr. Brown, because he is my favorite.
Where's Mr. Brown at? He's been hopping on
Yeah,
consistently.
he's been hopping on, and he asked me earlier were we getting on, and I told him that we were. But here, I'm gonna send him the link real quick because he always brings the best freaking engagement, the best questions, that really just helps uh the show kind of just go forward, because he just brings stuff that I don't even think about, because we don't, for those that don't know, we don't use a script. We
No,
just, like today, we just winging it. I just happen to just write down, you know, I just try to do a list of who all we had guests of, just to see who all we had, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. A great year. I mean, just so
right.
many. I mean, we just great. It was a great year, even in just sports. Period.
It was. I think when you look at some of the accomplishments, you look at someone like Simone Biles, um, who took time off to for her mental health. And I think we talked about this with Dr. Coffee a little bit.
We did.
We touched on the importance of understanding your own triggers, your own mental health, and when you need to stop something, take a break, and things like that. So for her to come back, but to come back the way she has, like completely still on top of everything,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and then looking at how um she's inspiring so many young Black women in gymnastics and little girls in
Yeah,
gymnastics to um, to chase that dream. Because I remember growing up, we had Dominique Dawes, and
absolutely.
that was
And that
it.
was
Like,
it.
there was nobody else. There were no other Black girls that I remember. Dominique
No, I
Dawes,
don't remember either. Besides Dominic Dobbs.
and then, as we got older, before Simone really hit the scene, there was Gabby Douglas.
Yeah,
And I feel like they dogged her so much because
they
of her appearance.
opinions.
I'm like, dog, she's an athlete. Like, yeah, she gonna sweat that
Why is y'all worried about her
out.
hair?
Like that wig, the weave, whatever she got, who cares? She up
Right.
here flipping, jumping, sweating, and doing all this other stuff. So looking at how they've been able to handle adversity and transform their sport. Um, you look at LSU women's basketball, South Carolina basketball, women's basketball, like they the truth. You talk about
They're the
creating
truth. Yeah,
dynasty,
last year's NCAA championship for the women was off the chain. It was better than the men's,
man.
and it's gonna be like that this year too.
It is. I can't wait.
It's gonna be like that this year too. It's gonna be the Final Four is gonna be off the chain. Well, probably the whole Elite Eight or Sweet 16 on
Sweet
is
16, I
gonna be
think from the
good.
Sweet 16 on,
Sweet
it's gonna
16
be
on,
hot.
I think it's gonna be really good.
It's gonna be
Yes.
fire. I'm trying to see where I'm gonna be. I'm trying to see.
Matter of fact, where is it at this year?
Let me look
I'm
because
gonna
I
have to
forget.
look it up. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna look it up, find out where it's at. I might have to look to see where get tickets for that.
We need to
For
do
the
our
Final Four
podcast
this
from
year.
there.
Yeah, I might have to look to get
We need
Final
to
Four
get
tickets
some.
this year.
We need to get
It's
some
gonna be
media
off the
passes.
chain. It's gonna be
Oh,
off the
it's
chain.
in Cleveland.
Oh, it's up there with you. Oh, so there's no reason for you not to go.
No, we going. I'm about. We gotta. We
Yeah.
gotta. I'm gonna find a way for us to get some.
So what you need to do is go get a media pass.
Us. We gotta run our podcast from there.
So we gotta go figure out how to get a media pass. Like I said.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that. I
Okay.
already got it pulled up. I got it saved.
Okay. So yeah, see if we can get a media pass, and then maybe we can run our podcast from up there as media.
Let
So
me
yeah,
see.
off the chain. I didn't realize that. So we be back in Cleveland.
They got the dates all the way through
They should have the dates and the locations all the way through like 2020,
2031.
2030 something,
Yeah,
2031.
2031.
Yeah.
Let me see. They might have some regional stuff near you. I don't know. I wonder why they
Okay. Well, we'll definitely
yeah,
look
we'll
that
work
up
on this for sure.
and see what's up with that because this year's the women's game has finally I think got the recognition that it needed last year. And with
Absolutely.
Caitlin Clark coming back with I
Angel
think
Reese.
Angel Reese and South Carolina still back on top. I think
Can we talk about
UConn has all of their girls.
South
They had a lot of
Carolina's
their girls that
freshman?
were, huh?
I said we need to talk about South Carolina's freshman.
Oh, she bad. Oh, she bad.
Have you
She bad. She bad.
have you seen their games? I know you've watched
No,
them.
but I'm going to the game when they come to Kentucky,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I think it's in February. I think I'm going to that game.
I just like I watch her play. And for those that don't know, we're talking about Malaysia Fulwiley. I think that's how you say her last name, Malaysia Fulwiley. She is a freshman. And when I tell you this young lady
A
played
bona fide
like
baller.
like her game reminds me of Cheryl Swoops.
Mm.
Like amazing point guard, amazing shooter, but play like has the mentality of like a power forward. Like she's unstoppable. She can drive to the
But
bucket or she could shoot the three, but her
her
IQ
court vision
of the
and her
game is
IQ.
ridiculous. I'm like,
Yes.
you are not a freshman.
Yeah. She's a baller.
I ain't
It's
trying
going
to
to
get
be fun
nobody else.
watching her
She's in
play
here.
the next 3 or 4 years.
Yes. Like that blows my mind that we get to watch her get better. Cause there's no like it's only up from where she is. So like, yeah. And what Dawn Staley has done for the women's game, being an advocate for women's sports and how she advocates for other black women coaches, sending them a card in the mail,
And
encouraging
and and a piece of the championship
them,
rope.
and a piece of the championship net.
Mhm. Outstanding. Outstanding. Yeah,
So when you
I
talk
can't
about
wait to see that game when they come to Kentucky.
yes,
I was disappointed to see that Kentucky goes to LSU, but LSU doesn't come to Kentucky. I don't know why. I thought we played home and away every SEC team, and for some reason,
uh,
I only saw on the schedule. I only saw the away game for
but
Kentucky, but didn't see
they're
the
in two
home
different
game.
divisions, right? East and
Yeah,
West.
but that is different from football. Like football had the two divisions, but for basketball, they usually play every SEC team twice.
Twice.
They play home and away. And for
Okay.
some reason on the schedule, they only play LSU away, but they're not playing them at home. I don't know. I didn't get that. Maybe it was a flaw in the schedule at the time I looked at it, and maybe I just need to look
Mhm.
at it now to see.
Yeah,
But
because I know
yeah,
they
they didn't
play.
play here, but that didn't make sense.
Yeah, they play at the end of the season too. You know, they play. Yeah, toward I
And
should
then
say
we'll probably see them at the SEC tournament.
right. Well, yeah, of course, but um,
And I thought about going to. I've been to the SEC women's tournament before, and I had a blast. I went when it was in Nashville, but they've been having it in South Carolina, like Greenville, South Carolina, or whatever. So I haven't made it to that, but I don't know. I might have to start going back to the SEC women's tournament because it's off the chain too.
um, and you know what else is off the chain? And I know we're not talking about this sport right now, but SEC volleyball is off the chain.
Yes, yeah. So
I mean,
Kentucky choked in the Final Four or Elite Eight. I think in the
Elite
final
Eight.
four, or was it the Elite Eight? It was one of them, but they were right there. They were right there. Kentucky's volleyball team, they've won the SEC. I think like 7 years in a row or something like that.
Yeah,
SEC
they
champion,
dominated the
something
SEC.
like that. Like, and of course, they always talk about the football and the basketball here, but they should be talking about the women's volleyball team because they have been
They
killing
are
it.
a perennial champion, no doubt
Yes.
about it. I mean, when I worked at Kentucky State, I went to one of the um, one of the NCAA games. I think it was an NCAA game, and I remember watching them play, and I was like, "These girls are bad. They are bad." But you know what else is crazy is that as bad as Kentucky is, that darn Texas Longhorns women's volleyball
Ooh, but
team.
get this. So, but this is what people don't understand. So, Skinner, the girl that won the MVP from Texas, came from Kentucky.
Yes,
So she was on Kentucky's team when they won the national championship. She transfers to Georgia to Texas, gets a and then gets back-to-back national championships with this. So this heifer got 3 back-to-back championships with
3
2 different schools,
with 2. Yes.
and then was the MVP of this last one. Yeah, she killing it like that.
Man, she's I mean just watching them play, and they they are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah,
They
but if
are
she was
well
still in
oiled.
Kentucky, them championships would have been at Kentucky, child.
That's true.
I'm not
That's
even
true.
gonna lie, because she's bad.
I believe that.
Yeah, she's bad. Um, so yeah, the year review was good. I mean, what else do we have going? What else do we have going on? I didn't even look.
Oh man, what
Tiger
else did we
Woods is back.
Tiger Woods is back. We've had shakeups in the HBCU football space. Dion left Jackson State, went to
Yeah,
Colorado.
Colorado.
Um,
Everybody was disappointed that he didn't have the season that he thought that he was going to have. But
but
it's
he tripled up
but
and
you
they
got to think the
win.
transfer portal. Let's talk about the transfer portal.
Oh,
Even
geez.
in the transfer portal, most of the guys in the transfer portal look good on paper.
Yeah.
And most of them, a lot of them didn't play or didn't get significant playing time. But the
But
ones that
that's why they
did
in
get
the transfer
significant
portal.
playing time, I don't understand why they in the portal.
So here's my theory. You know, I got theories for stuff, right? And I was actually talking to one of my friends about this. Maybe it might have been a couple days ago or before I came home, but we were talking about, he's a coach. We were talking about some of the difficulties of coaching and teaching this particular generation of kids, and how when they hit adversity and they hit hard times,
They out.
they're out. They clock out. There's no sticking around. There's none of that. They're gone. They don't care. They're up and out. Um,
There's my man.
there he is. Hey, Mr. Brown. We were waiting on you to come. Yes, it is
There he is.
it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Um, but the kids, they and I he sees it as a coach. I see it from just a management perspective, and whether it be an intern or a student assistant or whoever, a younger person, right? It's like, you asking me to do what? I don't want to do that. Well, I don't really care if you want to do it. You're getting paid to do it. You got this internship to do it. It's in your job description, or you have a scholarship, and this is what your scholarship dictates. Like, I'm not telling you to do anything that's going to harm you, but you do have a job to do, right?
Right.
They don't care. They don't agree with you. They hitting the portal. They hitting the Indeed job board. They're transferring schools, right? Like,
I know one of the things that Ron Prince told me, he said that he felt like the majority of the kids that are in the transfer portal are homesick. And so they're looking to find something closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that there's some truth to that, because I think that that was part of the reason where the Skinner girls, because both of them are from Texas. And so the one of the Skinner girls, I can't remember which one went to Baylor and the other one
Yeah,
went to Texas,
Texas.
but they're from Texas, right? And so they're
Yeah,
closer to home.
right.
And because it didn't make sense. Like, how do y'all win a championship and then leave? Like, it didn't make sense. So one of them used the excuse that they didn't have her major, but you knew that coming
But
here,
you knew that coming.
right? You knew that coming here. Not unless she changed majors and then and that happens too, where you get into it and then you realize that's not what you want to do, and then you change majors, or you want to change majors, or you finally get an epiphany of what you want to do, and then and then realize that they didn't have it, and so then
Right.
she transferred. But I do think that does play a big part of it. And then sometimes you just get into a situation where some of the kids just realize that they ain't as good as they thought they were. So what I'm not gonna bash like 24/7 Rivals, ESPN, all of those things that give these young men and women these 5-star, 4-star, 3-star ratings, right? But it's still somebody's opinion.
Right.
And I don't know to what extent that they saw. They happen to catch those kids at a good game, on a good day, and they might have just been beasting out. But who were they playing? They might not have been playing nobody, and they look like a beast,
Right.
right? So if we play,
That's
if
true.
we're now in the 6A, but if we go and play against some of the 1A teams, we're crushing them. They just cannot compete. It's some 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A schools that can compete on our level. And so I think that kind of plays a part in, it too. But I want to go back to the women. Let's talk women's sports. I like Mr. Brown keeping us on track about talking about
So,
women's sports.
so
And
while we're talking about women's sports, I want to give a huge shout out to our women's HBCU basketball teams who are out here killing it. You got our SWAC, some SWAC teams that are defeating some big
Power
D1
Five
schools,
schools,
Power Five schools. Southern beat Oklahoma recently.
that was huge.
Yeah. So I just want, I'm a huge proponent of HBCUs. I went to one. I work in the only HBCU athletic conference in the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. So I'm always going to support. And as much as we get on Twitter and all of that, and we argue, we're still one family. So, I'm so excited to see the growth of our teams and the grit and determination. I also loved to see that Angel Reese went back to Baltimore and did her thing at Coppin State. They sold out the gym for their women's basketball game. And she also teamed up with Angel McCaughtry and they did a clinic there before the women's game. So big up to HBCUs.
I think that's a great point that you brought about, because when Coach Staley and her South Carolina team blew out one team and it was just god awful, she got so much criticism,
Mm-hmm.
because they were like, why why would you beat a team like that or whatever. So my thing is, what is her explanation was that when she was at Temple, she said we wanted to play some of the bigger teams so that we can kind of gauge where we are. And
Yeah,
plus they get checks from the bigger teams, because otherwise, because the funding is horrible. And so they're able to get compensated to play. Yeah, they get blown out, but she said, but then we're able to gauge where we are, and then now we can kind of build on that. But when we don't play those bigger teams, we don't know where we are. We don't know where we stand. And then so
It's
and
true.
so because she would go and get blown out by those teams, she knew what it looked like to be on the next level. And
Yep.
so then she was able to change her coaching style to reflect this is what it's supposed to look like. And this is
Yep.
how we're going to get to the next level in order for us to compete with the UConns, the Tennessees, the Stanfords, and whoever else at that particular time.
Yeah.
And so she did get a lot of criticism for that, but what she loved doing was being able to play those HBCUs
Yep.
and give them that opportunity, because otherwise, they don't, you just don't know. You just don't know what you don't know.
I think also, and this is probably a topic for a different day, but HBCUs are not underfunded. They're being stolen from. And I know people don't want to hear that. But for instance, I think it was Jackson State had almost like $250 million that should have gone to them that went to Mississippi State.
$250 million.
Ma'am, the
That's a
state,
lot of money.
it's a lot of money. And it's not just happening, it's happening like, if you can look it up, Tennessee State.
Yeah, I
Um,
knew Tennessee
all,
State,
all, all of these, there are
and I'm
a
sure
lot of
Kentucky
schools.
State.
Yep, Kentucky State. I can't remember if Maryland Eastern Shores in that. There are a lot of schools that have money that is missing, and not because they haven't earned it. It's because you have people in charge of these state budgets and federal funds that are literally shifting the money from, they're literally funding the big schools. They're
Yeah,
funding the PWIs. And
but the
so,
PWIs can almost fund themselves because their football teams are able to bring in enough revenue to cover
yes.
them.
But what they're doing is, because of that, they're giving the schools more money, and then their football teams and the bigger programs get to do more and bring in more top tier athletes. It's attracting more attention. And I think that what we're seeing now
Yeah,
is,
I mean, I know what you're saying right now, but my thing is that pay to play is still not illegal. Like the schools are still not able to
oh, no, no,
pay
no.
players though.
No, they're not paying the players. What I'm saying
Oh,
is that they're building better facilities, right?
oh, I see
Because
what
they're
you're saying.
getting more
Yes,
money,
yes, yes,
so they
yes,
can
yes. Gotcha,
improve their facilities. And so when you go
gotcha.
to an HBCU and the
Everything's raggedy.
argument is, oh, it's raggedy. They're not doing what they should do with their money. No, they're being stolen from. And anytime you have someone like Brett Favre, which it still boils my blood that he is not in jail. Like, go arrest this man. Please lock him up. Like, you cannot steal from the most needy people in your state to build a facility at your daughter's school. Like,
But
this is
he
not,
but he got away with it.
he got away with it. They're all getting away. I'm waiting. I know
But I'm
justice is
but I'm gonna tell
slow.
you but I'm gonna tell you right now, if a a Hall of Fame baseball player, football player did that for their child and they were melanin, that they would be in jail.
Let that have been Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders would have been, they'd have been sending him death threats. He'd have had to move his family somewhere. It'd have been a whole mess. And everybody would have been talking about black people do this, that, and the third. But
But
hold
they
on. Mr. Brown put a couple of comments up. I did want to get your thoughts on negative energy vented toward Black women basketball coach that dressed in glamorous clothes and was fired because of her dress, her figure, and coach Sydney Carter, who was trolled negatively for her fine dress style and her beauty as a Black female. I think it's trash. I think it's trash. I ain't got nothing better to do because Kim Mulkey comes out with feathers
She looks a
all
hot
over her
mess.
freaks, looking like a Halloween
She looks,
costume.
yeah, she
And
looks
y'all
like
like,
she's in a
oh,
Halloween costume.
she on
Don't nobody say
ESPN.
nothing to her about her or how she's dressed, and it's not even as cute as these other women
But
that are playing.
what you really want to say is that Black women need to hide their figures. That's really what it is. Like, but no, go sit down. Go sit down. Because you don't complain about any other coach that dresses to the nines or whatever that saying is, right? You don't talk about her or
Yeah,
him.
because
You
I
don't.
saw another coach. I don't know where she was, but she was a white coach, and her skirts were short, and she's in her heels and she looks cute, and ain't nobody said nothing about her and how she was dressed, and it's no
They're not
different,
going to.
and they're not going to.
They are not going to. It
Yeah,
just reminds me of how, and you already know, like I can get into the sociological perspective of everything, right? But like they used to, when they were during slave trade times, when they were selling women, right? They would make the Black women turn and position their bodies in certain ways to show off their physique and their features, right? And it was like, oh, like we want that one. And so to me, it's like y'all want us to hide it because it's attractive, it's actually desirable, and you want people to hide what they don't have control over. You can't control what your figure is. I mean, you can to a certain
yeah, you
extent,
can. You can go
but
get a BBL.
you can, but this ain't big. We're not talking about BBLs.
We're
You
not
know what I'm
talking
saying?
about natural
And
booties.
natural booties and hips, right? And the crazy thing is, for the people that are making the negative comments, talk about go do some sit-ups and some, you don't want that because that's going to accentuate what they already have. It's going to firm it up. So you think the booty is big and popping now, let them do some squats and some bench presses and some leg lifts and all that. Y'all don't want that. Y'all don't want that. Mr. Brown said, Coach Carter looked better than Kim Mulkey. I hear that.
He's right. I mean, he's absolutely right. But that was definitely one of the bigger highlights of sports this past year was definitely that. Um, I missed seeing Serena on the court, but she had her second daughter. Congratulations to her.
And you know what's funny is that they talked about her the same way.
And they talked about her the same way.
They
They
talked about
sure
her
did.
the
The
same
way
way.
she dressed. They
The way
sure
she
did.
dressed.
Yep.
They tried to make rules for how she dressed. And she
Yes.
was like, I'm following the rules. I just have my own clothing line. So
Yeah. Yeah, because Venus
everybody else
even
had
just went through something. Venus wore some like some brown, like they were like almost the same flesh color of her
yes,
skin. So it almost looked like she didn't have on no pants or something like that. And she was like, "This is my design," and
yeah.
I designed it
What are
that
you gonna
way.
do? I have on clothes. I'm following the rules.
Yeah,
Deal with it.
absolutely,
Go design your own clothes. Y'all got millions, hundreds of thousands. You got enough to go make your own clothing line. Go do it. Look, my mom in the background, she said they want our clothes. And
they
there,
want. I
and
mean, they want everything. We set
they
the
want
standard
everything.
for everything. Yeah, we kind of set the
They,
standard for everything. Yeah.
yeah, it's the old. It's not even the old saying. It's the saying. People love Black people and Black culture and the things that we create and the things that we do until it's time to be Black. And then when Black stuff starts happening, because you love Black culture, you run from it. You can't handle it. But y'all the ones that creating the mess. Y'all creating the mess. Anyway,
What else you got, girl?
what else we got going on? We got I believe next week we've got Dr. Pope, Tabia Pope coming on. So
Okay.
I'm hoping We've got Candy Waller from Seawall Sports Entertainment. She's a huge advocate for women in athletics. She's in the Black media space as well. She covers the Washington Commanders. She's a Hampton grad, so um, and she's also part of Monique's group as well. She's one of Monique's media partners. So excited to get her on as well. Um, Other than that, man, we're
Well, I keep asking Mr. Brown. He said he's gonna come on and be a guest too. We just got to figure out when
oh
he's
yeah,
gonna.
Mr. Brown, when you coming on?
He'll be on next year. He'll be on next year.
We definitely got to get our honorary host on.
Yeah,
Mr. Brown is on here every week and drops some gems and has great questions.
absolutely. And so we'll get him on and we'll talk sports with him. And I'm trying to think who else I got. I don't think I have a lot of other people. I got a bunch of other people that's lined up as far as just, just former female athletes that were probably in their prime at one time, and then I just kind of want to make them relevant again. So there's a couple of girls that I went to school with that
and we got to get y'all
that qualified for the Olympics and that type of things or whatever like that were just a beast, and I'll probably bring them on. And they got kids that are playing sports, and
the coaches show too. Y'all definitely
we'll do a coaches show. And then I'm gonna do all Cowboys, so you should do an all Eagles show. Get all your female girls that are Eagles fans. I'm gonna do one all girls, all Cowboys. And we could talk. I mean, we can transition into that. So right now we got the bowl games going on right now. Like we said, Louisville is playing. So my son plays on Saturday. We play Clemson on Friday at 12 o'clock. I don't know if it's on. I think it's on ESPN. I don't know what it's
ESPN.
On. Yeah. So we'll travel down to Jacksonville tomorrow, and we'll be back on Saturday because my Cowboys play Saturday night. So we'll be back for that, and then I'm looking forward to the NFL. I right now I think the Ravens look really, really good. I thought the San Francisco 49ers was the best team. And then I thought it was the Eagles, of course. But I still think the Eagles are still up there. I still think San Francisco's still in there. As much of a Cowboys fan I am, I don't ever get my hopes up about them. So, but I do hope that they're still, that they win more than one game in the playoff.
Yeah.
Other than that, and in Kansas City, I still think that they're still in there. I know one thing. I know two things that I want to talk about with the NFL is the Patriots are down this year, and they're talking. So of course, everybody's talking about firing Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
if y'all don't go sit down some daggone where and get that man a lifetime. So Bill Belichick and yes, Mr. Your Dolphins too. The Dolphins are up there too. So Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin are two coaches in the NFL right now that should have a lifetime contract. Like they should never get fired until they're ready to go. Because to me, they have more than proven themselves as the top and best coaches available. It's not even funny.
It's always interesting to me how, and I say this even about when people are calling for the heads of kids that play, right? Like, or you see all these situations on social media with celebrities. Like, it's so disgusting to me to see the number of people who are like just waiting for somebody's downfall. Like, what's wrong with y'all?
Oh my God.
Like y'all really sit here and plot and talk about how poorly somebody is doing and wait for them to, it's like you want them to fail. And it's like, but if it were you
couldn't do it.
Your job, you can't do this.
You couldn't do it. right? And so I have to learn how to stay off of social media. So y'all, everybody knows that I'm a big Justin Fields fan. Justin Fields is like a nephew to me. And just the amount of criticism, I'm like, do y'all realize he does not have an offensive line? And then when y'all look at the play calling and stuff that he gets, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like I'm an assistant offensive coordinator, and I can play call better than a lot of these coaches that are in college and in the NFL, because some of the stuff that they were calling is absolutely ridiculous. You're like, where show me where this makes sense. But going back to the best teams in the NFL again, the Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills. I think I missed somebody else. The Lions are really good this year.
Yeah, the
I
Lions
think that they'll
really
still be.
turned
I
around.
think that they'll still be in it, and I think there's one more team. Ooh, you are so right. Sean Payton's unprofessional confrontation of Russell was terrible.
Oh yeah.
So they're trying. So he got benched. Russell Wilson got benched these next 2 games because they don't want to pay him. So there's something coming up in his contract where if he doesn't play, that there's some guaranteed money or something like that. I think that they won't have to pay him, and so they're just trying to keep from paying him. Yeah, they're just trying to keep from paying him. But yeah, I don't know if it's ridiculous because I haven't really watched the Denver game. I know that he's played horrible, but he's also in a new system. And I've seen offensive coordinators get quarterbacks, and they have a system, but their system doesn't necessarily fit the quarterback. Or the quarterback is not used to that particular system. And so instead of the offensive coordinators adjusting to the strengths of their quarterback, they try to force the quarterback to make the adjustment to their system.
Yeah.
But you knew that when y'all signed him that he wasn't part of this. You know what? I might have been wrong. I think they went through some coaches changes during that time.
But even still, like
I think they went through some coaches changes and I think some coordinator changes, if I'm not mistaken.
My bad, y'all. Can you plug me in, please? My laptop's about to die.
Yeah. So I just think that's just some of the things that just I see. Of course, I can't say these things because as a female, they think I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
Of course, that's always. You're only.
That's why we made our own podcast, because we can't go and talk. I can't go on another podcast and say these things on another podcast because number one, there's probably not going to be no females on there that knows the game like that, and then it's going to be a bunch of guys that's going to look at me like I'm crazy.
What do you know?
Yeah, so I don't know.
But
that's just my opinion. They don't look at the fact that, okay, what was successful for him in Seattle,
right?
What plays, what scheme, what formations, what were they doing in Seattle that made him successful? And let's bring some of that in, and so that he could continue to be successful. Now, again, as a professional, when you go to a new job, you kind of got to learn a new job. I get that part. I do. I get that part too. But sometimes you just can't make that adjustment if that's just what you're used to.
And I feel like professional sports is also very much like once you get into the season, it's totally different than practice. You're not like there's game speed and then there's practice speed. There's like game learning and practice learning. So yes, you're going to learn the plays, you're going to learn the system, but once you get into the game itself, it's a totally different aspect of playing that sport. And it takes time. It just takes time. But you also have to have a good line to protect you.
And that's the problem with Justin. And that's the problem with Justin Fields. Everybody is like,
exactly.
Oh, have any oh, he don't know what he's doing. Oh, he's this, that, and the other. But then today I did a side by side. They did a side by side with Trubisky, and they were like, well, it's no different. Well, y'all running people off again. Sometimes the fans are the worst. The fans in Kentucky, listen. Oh, Nicole Lockett is on. Hey, Nicole. But sometimes the fans are the worst. Like I cannot get on any of the chats for Kentucky football because the fans are absolutely brutal.
They're
And but
terrible.
again, but none of them. It's easy to say what you got to say from the stands when you have no idea how to play. When you can't go out there and catch balls and tackle, and you can't go out there and do what they're doing. It's easy. It's easy being a sideline coach.
And here's my thing: if y'all knew so much about the game and so much about athletics and the sport, number one, you'd be coaching in some capacity. You would have your own show like us, because we clearly created a show so we could talk about what we wanted to talk about, how we wanted to talk about it, when we wanted to talk about it. Right? So all you do is get on social media. You're
But it's
a
so easy to
social
hide
media
behind social media because you
troll.
can't get hit in the mouth.
You're a troll. That's all that you are. You're a social media troll and a bully who has no, like, you have no sports acumen at all. Like, you don't know the game at all. Like, you don't even, like, you have no clue the difference between the A gap and the B gap. You cannot
No
explain
idea.
that. You cannot explain that. You don't know the positions on the field.
You don't know the coverages. You don't recognize they're in a cover 3, a cover 2, a cover 4. You don't recognize that they're in a 4-3. You don't recognize they're in a 5-3,
You don't know
5-3,
zone versus
5-2. You don't
man.
know nothing. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know that that was a slant. You don't know if that's a bubble play. You don't know that's a seam route. You don't know that you don't know none of that. You don't know none of that. But you just running your mouth. Yeah.
That's it. Yep. Yep.
So Mr. Brown is just killing it about so why do you feel like that they despise Russell in the executive branch?
Does Mr. Brown have
I think Russell Wilson comes across to me like I'm not a yes man. He comes across to me like I'm gonna do what I want to do, and y'all not getting ready. Y'all not getting ready. Number one, I'm already on this plantation, but you're not getting ready to treat me like no field ninja. And I could be totally wrong about that, right? Like you just not getting ready to treat me like that. I'm not, I know what I'm doing. I've proven myself, and because to me that's how he kind of comes across, right? But I also like what Mr. Brown says is that there's a disconnect somewhere in in the locker room with the people that he played with, because even I think I was it Marshawn Lynch? I think it was Marshawn Lynch. So I think Marshawn Lynch had made a comment he was in an interview and he said that he asked something about Russell Wilson's phone number. He said, tell Russell to call me. He said Russell called him from an unknown number. It wasn't even like his number. And he was like, oh man, your number didn't come through. He was like, yeah, I know. Like he did not want nobody to know his personal phone number. Like, so he wasn't personable with his teammates. Right. And to me, that's a disconnect. Like, how do you not have a personal? I guess he kept it's just business, because I'm like that when I go to my job on the plantation.
Like he could
when I go to work, I go to
like,
work. I come home. Don't be adding me to Facebook.
This is
Don't
my
be
job.
Facebook friends. You're not getting ready to get my phone number. We're not getting ready to break bread outside of this work. We come to work and we go home. And apparently that is the attitude that Russell Wilson kind of has. But we know that the best quarterbacks, you just can't have that. You just can't. You got to be more personable with your team, because that's how you get the connection. Is that personal connection and being and feeling like I'm going to bat for you or we're playing for each other.
Yep, he told Shannon Sharp that Russ was distant from
from the
others in the
others in the
locker
locker room.
room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you say that, Mr. Brown, because I definitely he also said you definitely can't be like that as a quarterback. Chemistry starts and ends with you. That's so true.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
goes
I
beyond
mean,
coaches.
and we dealt
Coaches
with
have
that with
some
DCD this past.
oversight.
I felt like we dealt with this past year, this past season with DCD. I just felt like that we didn't have the chemistry with our quarterback, with our offensive line,
And it's
or my
funny,
running back.
I think that, even as from a leadership perspective, even though I'm not a coach, leadership at our organization or even in the past is that I've encouraged my people to always pick up the phone and call somebody. Like, don't rely on social media or text messaging and emails and all of that. Like, you have to create a culture of vulnerability and openness, but that's like making that personal connection is how you create trust. And so Russell is probably having not the greatest time in Denver because he has not built the trust of his
Right.
teammates.
Yeah.
There's no trust there. Like,
Right.
I can't connect with you on a personal level off the field, so I don't know how
How
to
am I?
really
Yeah.
protect
How am I
you
supposed to trust you on the
and
field?
and 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 understand your line of thinking on the field. Like Mr. Brown said, there's no chemistry there. It's
Because what
literally it's so transactional that you can't have a relationship. And that does not work. I don't care. I don't care what you've
I
learned.
agree. Because
I
last
don't
year we
care
were
what
supposed
you
to
have
do a team
heard
building.
about being a team. Like, I don't care what you've heard. You cannot have a good, solid team that has no connection. You can't.
Right. I agree. Like, so last year we were supposed to do like a team building for our team, and we never had that. And the owner did say, she said, you know what? She said, we usually do that every year. And
Mm,
when we do the team building, we come together as a team, and it really, really helps us with our chemistry, and it really helps us to bond. And she
yep.
said that we didn't do that last year as well. And so I'm definitely looking forward to some type of team building exercises this season, this upcoming season, so that we can rebuild that team chemistry, because I definitely think that that's important. And so if Russell Wilson is just being standoffish, and your own teammates can get, how am I as a running back or wide receiver can't pick up the phone and call my quarterback?
Right.
We can't go get a beer. We can't go get a beer. We can't go get no wings. We can't just go, hey, let's just go chill out. Just so we can,
Something.
just have that connect, just so we can have that connection, and maybe we can have a conversation about your philosophy on stuff, like, like maybe some signals. Like, if I'm scrambling and I look this way, I do this, this is what I want you to do. Or, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's
Right.
where you get that type of chemistry from, because you get to know your quarterback. Because I think that's why Mahomes has been so successful in the past years, because you could just tell he has a relationship with his teammates.
Same with
And so
Jalen Hurts in
when
Philly.
he's all over
There's
the
a
place and he
relationship.
starts scrambling, and they're like, how in the world did they, because there's some type of chemistry, because they know their quarterback, and they knew, okay, when he does this, this is what I'm getting ready to do.
Yep.
So, and I
They
just don't
know
think
how to
that
protect them.
they know,
They
yes,
have that
absolutely,
chemistry. There's that
because
connection.
they have that chemistry.
Yep.
Yep. And they've spent some type of personal time together, and they built a relationship, because everything now is relationship building.
Absolutely. Always. Absolutely. And I think that until people understand, and I feel like this is also in life as well, that, again, when it comes to working with people, when it comes to dealing with people, relationships are built in the way you're able to connect with that person, right? And if
Mhm.
you don't take the time, if you don't make that effort, like, there's absolutely no way I can be a good manager and never have one-on-one time with my with my people. Like,
There's no way.
there's absolutely no way. But I have, like, an intern and assistant now who are very familiar with what I want And so they're like, okay, I get this, that, and the third. Can you look at this, that, and the third to make sure that this is what you want? And so they're learning that, but that comes from time with them. We have one-on-one meetings every week now. Again, I can't make those connections without that time with them. And I think that, like Mr. Brown said, you can't behave like that as a quarterback. You have to take the time. The chemistry, like he said, starts and ends with you. And if you are not initiating that, if you're not taking that matchbook and lighting that match to spark that chemistry, you just want to go out there and play and get paid. At this point, it's not even about a team anything. That whole program has like bottomed out. Like they look terrible. You could tell they have
But it
no
starts
chemistry.
at the top.
Yeah, it does. You can tell they have no chemistry from the top down. With the coach too. So, but yes, Mr. Brown, thank you so much for the
Peyton
comments.
is
You were right on point with those.
and Sean Payton is a good. What he said about Russell and his wife. Yeah. Oh, he don't play about his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anybody that want to talk about how to treat your wife? Oh yeah, you could definitely take some notes from Russell Wilson because he does not play about. Listen, he does not play about his wife.
As it should be. Now he need to play.
But now he needs to put that same
field.
energy into his team. Yeah,
Yep.
and rebuilding the team. And maybe this will be a wake up call with him getting benched because he didn't think he was like, y'all gonna pay me all this money and put me on the bench. Like, where do they do that at? Because normally that doesn't happen. Normally you're paying the people that you're paying. They're not going to go to the bench.
And hopefully it sends the right message to everybody.
Yeah. And even Alvin agreed with agreed with Nicole. Observed that the chemistry had to match. Absolutely. Oh yeah. Like I said, we learned firsthand from our team, the chemistry with the quarterback. And the quarterback is a ringleader. It starts with the quarterback. That's why I love even every people was dogging Chicago and Justin up there, but they've been killing it these last couple of games. And then when you look at his stats against Lamar Jackson, they're almost similar, but they're talking about Lamar Jackson being an MVP. But their stats are almost similar.
It's interesting
because they're not winning.
We went through the same thing with one of the players at one of our schools. He was up for National Player of the Week, and I sent an email because I was like, I don't understand how this player got it over our player because his stats were better. They had the same win-loss record for the week. So what's the difference? What's the difference? What are the voters seeing that sets them apart? Like, what are y'all looking at to say?
Again, it's just people's opinion.
Yeah.
Just like we get on this podcast, this is all our opinion. And ain't nobody got to listen and watch. It's still our opinion. But you know what I mean? But it's just somebody's opinion. And it's just not fair.
Nope.
But it is what it is. That's just the way. That's just the way.
Way of the world.
Just the way it is. So, I don't know what it is. So we're over time.
Listen, I was already. I'm looking at this little red clock. I was like, an hour, 8 minutes.
Like already.
Goes by fast. Every week. Goes by super fast. Well, I'm excited to bring in the new year. We literally kick off the new year with a show. So I think that's pretty awesome, pretty exciting. I'm excited to, up level even our guests. It's amazing to me that our guests each week come in with the passion and the fervor and the knowledge that we desire, that we have, but that Like, y'all, these guests come on and they do this at no charge. Like, they're not asking for anything. You know what I'm saying?
Thank, thank
Um,
God.
yes. But I think that also speaks to the platform that's been built, and people know that they can, this is a trustworthy platform. And it's also a space for everybody to get to share their opinion. Like, we don't dog people on the show for
Oh, we don't
having
dog people on
opinions.
this show. If we
Um,
bring guests on and we ask you as a guest to come on our show, we're not going to talk about anything controversial you might have going on. We're not going to ask any embarrassing questions. We're not going to put you on a spot about anything. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do anything like that.
yeah. And I think that's really important because as things grow, as you build trust with your audience and people around you and your guests, it was from the very beginning important for us to have a safe space for people to talk and for people to come. Like Terry said, like this is how we talk on the phone, right? This is like these are our conversations, and so the podcast, this show, it's a conversation piece. It's completely unscripted. We have a guest. When we have a guest, we literally are asking questions as the conversation goes. We
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 still
don't
don't
have
have a script.
a list of questions that we plan out in advance, and I think that's what really helps our show, and makes it fun and exciting because everybody knows that when they come on this show, it's just fun. We're just talking. We're going to ask you some questions. We're going to ask you for advice. We're going to ask you for your input and all of that. But on the real, like, this is a conversation. So I'm very excited to continue the conversation in 2024.
Oh, he said I've learned from following you guys about female sports than most podcasts I follow. You're going to be commended. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. We can't wait to have you
Thanks,
on.
Brown. So, um, I know we've come to the end, which is crazy to me because I feel like we just started the show. But for those of you that are following us on YouTube, make sure that you head over to Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/hits and heels. If you are on Facebook, make sure that you head over to YouTube. And where is our YouTube channel? There we go. Head to YouTube and make sure you hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with your fans, friends, family, coworkers, whoever, anyone that loves sports. Make sure that you all subscribe to our channel so that every time we go live and post a video, you will get the notification. If anybody, I want to pop this up here because I know we kind of talked about it, but I want y'all to head to Lash Off because they are doing some great things, and there are ways for you all to support them as well,
We
from
should be getting ready
donations
to.
to
We should be
advertising,
getting. I think
sponsorships.
next month. I think we are getting ready to start narrowing down our nominees for 2024.
Yep.
But thank
So
you,
they're
thank you
doing
for.
some great work in Kentucky, and created this Hall of Fame to honor African American homegrown athletes and people that have had a major impact on the state of Kentucky in the athletics realm. So make sure that you head to,
Specifically Lexington.
yes, Lexington specifically. Sorry, the
That's okay.
Lexington African American Sports Hall of Fame. All right, head to their website and make sure that you also hit up Terry if you're interested in volunteering or somehow serving on that
If you
gala.
want to play women's football, I'm recruiting. We
Yes,
start practices
yes.
on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays in Louisville.
um, so thank you, Nicole and Mr. Brown. Both said great show. Thank you guys so much for. They're two of our most consistent supporters, so we definitely appreciate y'all always hopping on the show. So, all right, Terry, man.
That's it. That's all I got. Hey, I love y'all.
Love
Happy
y'all.
New Year.
Happy New
We
Year,
can't.
y'all. Y'all
So
be
when we
safe.
see y'all again, it'll be 2024.
2024. All right. So hop back on, tap in with us next Wednesday, January 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central for another episode. We're starting, is that season 8? We starting season 8? What we doing? I don't know.
What was this? Oh, episode 7. So we got 3 more episodes for
We got
season
3
6
more.
when we start season 7.
Season 6. I said season 8, Lord. Listen, I need to go to bed.
But the beginning, but we'll be at, I don't know what season we'll be at the end of this year because we started last year off with season 2, episode 5.
Right. That's crazy.
The Thelma, the owner of DCD, was our first guest for
Was our first guest.
2024. So we were getting ready to have our signing day.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Anyway, thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Cisco was listening too because he was sending me text messages and stuff.
Hey, brother.
So he was listening too. So yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't know what else. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
It's and heels. If you want to
Smooches.
be a guest, let us know.
Let us know. Oh, yeah. Our email is hello@hitsandheels.com. So if you want to be a guest or you know somebody that wants to be a guest, you have some feedback for us. Hey, what's in your salad? Yours looks better than mine.
Salad.
My mom is making salads. I told her that their salad looks better than mine. So, but yeah, we're about to hop off here. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Same time, same bad channel. Deuces.